Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, we're talking about Loki, the variant. But there's no variant for this man. It's Jacob Gulliver.
Hello. I am burdened with glorious purpose and all that,
All right,
Well,
so
last
guys,
episode.
I got to tell you, I really didn't like this episode at all. I don't know where this season is going. I don't get the hype that this episode just. I don't get it at all. It's just like, oh, look at me. I'm Owen Wilson. I'm a wash-up actor. No, I'm just kidding. Beowulf, what the hell are you talking about? I'm going to be salty. I love this thing, man. Come on. I do not know why Beowulf thinks I'm going to be salty about this thing. Gave you guys a little bit of a fake out there, but no. Genuinely, I truly think this is some of the best Marvel stuff that we've gotten in a while. Certainly the best stuff since post-Endgame. I really, really liked WandaVision a lot. Falcon and Winter Soldier, to me, was a little up and down, but it had more good than bad in it. This is just all good, man. This is just all right up my alley. To me, it's like the most the MCU has ever catered to, like, my particular weird tastes. And I'm loving it. It's just like, this is like the MCU meets Terry Gilliam, and it's just delicious. Owen Wilson is just out of control. We'll just break it down. Gulliver, I'll let you plug some stuff as soon as we're done with thesis statements. But
sure.
But with that in mind, what are your thoughts on this episode and just the show as a whole so far?
Sure. Yeah, I'm really curious to see where it goes. I'm hesitant to make any judgments at this point because I'm all about seeing the journey from point A to point B in my media. But I think there is a really promising setup that's happening with, really messing with the MCU as we know it. And we've kind of seen that established, not so much in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, although all of the shows in Disney Plus lineup are kind of under the theme of, upsetting the norms in some way or another, or disrupting, what we know to be quote unquote true. So I think there's some really interesting potential. I'm not entirely sold on like the procedural type stuff that's happening, but all the like magic and spooky shit is great.
Cool. Dragon?
I'll tell you, I'm a little peeved at those lucky critics who got both episodes. But this episode is brimming, I think, with exciting potential, especially with the ending. It seems to be really kind of trying to subvert the Disney Plus kind of MCU trappings that we've had with the show so far. It's 2 shows in where we have like a mystery that we cut off within these 2 episodes in. We know who's under the cloak, and we know who it was even in the first episode. So I'm really impressed.
Right. So Gulliver, why don't you go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Yeah, there's a couple things that I want to plug. First and foremost, the Hot Chocolate Media podcast Dead North, which is a original horror audio podcast designed to be essentially like theater in podcast format. Has a new episode out that includes a piece that I co-wrote with my business partner Kyle. It is a collection of pieces on the theme of summer, and the piece that we wrote is kind of inspired by like creepypastas and all the legends of like weird alternate cuts of Star Wars, and is about a haunted VHS of Star Wars. So if you like horror stuff, if you like kind of that sort of thing, definitely check it out at our website, hotchocolatemedia.net. The other thing that I want to plug, I am on the board for a local group called the Midwest Sci-Fi Film Festival. And we have several screenings throughout the year. They're all online this year. Tomorrow and Sunday, You can stream a ton of original short films online. There's some really cool stuff in it this year. If you buy a ticket to this one, you also get a ticket to the streaming event in August. It's going to be like 10 hours of films in total. It's like $20, which is not a bad deal at all. There's some really cool stuff in there. We've got like an old school black and white campy ray punk piece. There's a stop motion musical about a cat who's a space explorer. There's some existential horror pieces. There's an adaptation of an Arthur C. Clarke piece. There's some like post-apocalyptic stuff in there. Some really cool stuff. So if you're interested in seeing anything from the Midwest Sci-Fi Film Festival, head to bit.ly/MSFF June. And you will be able to preview a ton of the different things there and purchase tickets if you wish.
Right, cool. That sounds great. Awesome. Okay, so just to go over some stuff in the score, or in the comments, I mean, B-Wolf says, "Didn't you say Lady Loki? You did want Lady." I do think that Lady Loki being the variant is a little bit easy. I do, yes, B-Wolf, I do agree on that.
Yeah, that was me. I'm the one who was very hoping. I was fingers crossed, like really hoping it worked. And I want to be very clear. Okay, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all knew Lady Loki was going to be in this season. Now, I have no compunction with there being Lady Loki or Lady Loki, showing up. That's perfectly fine. My problem is less the fact that the cloaked figure is Lady Loki, but it was just kind of like the added effect of, well, yet again, we're going to have a reveal where it's a girl, and that's going to be our reveal. Now, to be fair, there's been some, what I'm getting at is my big fear is that, like when Black Widow comes out, Taskmaster is going to be Rachel Weisz. That's going to clinch it for me. If that's it, I give up. Okay, why can't we just have simple things? Taskmaster, man of mystery, sometimes Tony Masters, sometimes just a rando guy. Why do we gotta make it
just to be clear, I don't mind these characters being female. I mind the fact that they're like making the fact that the characters are female a choice unto itself, like that.
Exactly, like just doing the Enfys Nest thing, it just gets old after a while. Where it's like it's a girl. Like, look, I love the character Ghost, and I have no problem making her female, but it's like that's your not really a whole lot else there. Just like it's a girl.
It's like Metroid happened in the 80s, guys.
Now, the character itself could be very interesting. So I have no problem with the idea of, okay, so our main variant is Lady Loki, plus there's a practical reason. Well, we don't have Tom Hiddleston acting against himself the whole series, like Paul Bettany as with White Vision. We don't have that for a whole series, which, I mean, it could have been interesting as well, but it's just the fact that Lady Loki may not be simply Lady Loki. A lot of people speculate.
Yeah, I feel like it's at this point. I feel like it's just way too easy of an answer. So I feel like at this point we're at the part of the mystery where it's like, oh wait, that feels like it was wrapped up a little too easily.
Well, I mean, the technically Lady Loki is kind of two characters. There's Lady Loki, and then there's a specific version of Lady Loki, which is the second Enchantress. When the Enchantress is a big Thor character.
Okay, can I just say the fact that that Marvel has an Enchantress, DC, that literally just makes my head hurt.
Okay, Marvel's Enchantress was way cooler, though. Marvel's Enchantress is great.
I'm sure. I have no doubt about that.
I can't tell you how many times, like when Thor 3 was like when they were teasing up what the third Thor was going to be. And we had Scourge, we had the Executioner. You got Carl Urban with the giant axe. Yeah. He's usually a package deal with the Enchantress, at least when I've seen him. Right. So I was getting say, oh boy, we might get the Enchantress, or maybe this Thor: Love and Thunder. We're going to introduce the Enchantress. So this would be an interesting way of getting the Enchantress. I got to be honest, I completely forgot about the second one. I usually think of Amora, the first one.
All right, so Gulliver, it's interesting that you're not feeling the procedural stuff because I am usually like the guy who's like the least into procedural stuff. Like I really don't like procedural TV shows at all. Dragon will attest to this. But I
procedurals are my bread and butter, though. I can't get enough. I don't think Loki is truly a procedure, given we've only gotten to the procedure in one episode.
If it does turn into a procedural, then I gotta say Loki and Owen Wilson, Hiddleston and Wilson, just the chemistry is just out of this world. I mean, Owen Wilson is just everything that I dreamed he would be and more in this show.
Yeah, a little. Speaking of Owen Wilson, speaking of Mobius and Mobius, just want to get this in here somewhere. There's a cute little. I happened upon this doing some research. So, so Mobius is modeled after a writer, basically a man of many hats in the comics industry. A guy who's who's been a writer, he's been a penciler, he's been I assume an editor. He worked for both companies and probably more. Mark Grinwald. Now, Mark Grinwald. They modeled the Mobius character. They gave him the iconic mustache based on this guy.
Interesting.
In the comic, and they adapted that into the. That's why Owen Wilson has a mustache. In case the kids are wondering, why does Owen Wilson have a mustache? That's why. And fun fact, Mark Grindelwald, he created U.S. Agent.
Interesting.
Yeah, small world. And the reason I brought it up is that this episode would go to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's where he's from, I believe. So it's like a little nod to that guy, who I believe also authored the TVA along with the Mobius and Mobius character, or just Mobius, and we just got to work it in there. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but there's a shot of like a guy with like a big guy with beard and glasses and like tusks and stuff at the Renaissance Festival. And I swear there's a dude who looks just like that at our local Renaissance Festival.
Oh my God.
So it's possible that, he's just, they cast him, or that there's stock footage of him somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
But like,
oh God.
Yeah, I was just like, I was weirded out for a second. I was like, wait, did they film this at No, they didn't. Okay.
I will say the Holding Out for a Hero song choice I thought was super on the nose, and I wasn't really a fan
Tiki,
of it.
Are you aware of the big thing that's going on with this song recently?
What is the big thing going out on?
It's many people have been using the "I Need a Hero" song.
Yeah, I
most
know
famously
this, and then one other thing.
Masters of the Universe, Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe,
right? Yeah,
He-Man thing. It was the big trailer. It worked wonderfully there. So I think it's that whole sequence.
But also, I'm just going to complain about this is just a thing that I have with TV shows in general. So bear with me here. It's like an aesthetic thing. Gulliver, you might be able to speak to this because you have experience on the production side of things. So this is like uber specific. So bear with me. This is just a little nitpick here. When they go into the tent or whatever it is, I swear to God, a lot of TV shows do this where it's like, we're supposed to have this low sort of like mood lighting, right? It's supposed to be like dark and creepy, but instead it's like, I swear to God, maybe it's just, maybe I just don't have good blinds, but I've experienced this in multiple different locations on multiple different, on multiple different TVs, multiple different shows. Whatever shows like try and go into like a super dark location, it's like, I always just, if I'm watching it during the day, I always just get this really bad glare, and it's like, I feel like movies don't do this as much, but like with a TV show budget, I don't know, there's just something about the lighting where it's literally hard for me to even make out what's going on.
Yeah.
Can you talk to that a little bit, Gulliver?
Sure. So yeah, there's been a trend for a while. I think it kind of started with like all the stuff about like No Country for Old Men, where they would film stuff, using these really high quality digital cameras, and they would be able to do a lot of things even with relatively minimal light. And it was kind of like a technical showcase, which, if you're going to see it in like, a large theater, looks really cool on screen and adds some, mood and atmosphere. But realistically, a lot of people's home TVs don't have the color precision, the color depth, or the pixel depth that you're getting on a screen in the cinema.
Right,
so
right.
You're losing a lot of that detail when you're trying to watch it back, and it's absolutely something that's irked me too. There's so many times when I've seen movies and just like this is too dark. You shot this too dark for average person's home TV, and I'm a film nut with a nice TV, but there's still some that are just bad.
Sorry,
no.
I remember I tried to get into Boardwalk Empire, but Boardwalk Empire, at least in the first couple episodes, had some really bad scenes like that. Like basically all the nighttime scenes in that show were like that.
Yeah.
But Anyways, minor technical nitpicks aside, we got some comments, a lot of comments, guys. I'm not going to have time to go through all of them, but let's see.
The third time the music was used was the Guardians of the Galaxy game trailer they did this week or last week.
Yes, which is coming to Switch, Dragon. So I don't know. Maybe we might have to do our actual first Let's Play at some point with that.
Yeah, right after the Batman Telltale one went so well.
Oh, I forgot about the Telltale. I forgot that the Telltale, that the second Telltale Batman game is even on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
we'd do a Let's Play of Marvel's Avengers with y'all if you wanted to. Because I really enjoyed that game.
All right. Anyways, well, actually, I mean, shit, Gulliver, I might have to hit you up on something with a Let's Play because I don't know. You'd probably be the guy to go to actually get the technical know-how of how to set it up.
Yeah, it can be a little challenging, but
yeah.
It's manageable.
Anyways, all right, Dragon. Anything else in the comments, or should we just dive right into it?
Let me see here. Well, just this is jumping a little forward, but then again, time's going crazy in this episode. Donovan says, "I think that in the next one, her as in Lady Loki and Loki are going to have very deep conversation. Yeah, I'd be surprised if next episode wasn't the big Vormir conversation between the two of them. Like they're going to be on Vormir, I think, having a conversation."
Yeah, sounds about right.
Could very well be. Yeah.
So I have a big theory. I have like a master theory. You guys want to hear it?
Yes.
What if I said
I brought this up a little bit last week, but this episode honestly kind of like cemented it for me. At this point, for me, if Mobius isn't a Loki, then I honestly think the show is going out of their way to put red herrings hinting that he is. Because to me, there are some lines, like I can't think of anything like off the top of my head, like any direct quotes, but
it was the scene between
moments, like how he defends Loki, how he's like getting into Loki's thought process. So basically my master theory right now, what I'm working with, how I think this whole season's gonna go. You notice how we emphasize him calling Loki a child a couple different times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I strongly think that Kid Loki is the end game for this show. And I strongly think what's going to happen is Kid Loki is going to replace the TVA Loki in the timeline. And our Loki right now that we're following is going to turn into Mobius in the future, working for the TVA.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know if that fully makes sense, Tiki, but I think I get what
I don't know if the details make sense.
Yeah,
it's like a skeleton of an idea for me. Just the connecting the dots of like, I really think there's going to be Kid Loki involved just because we emphasized the child line a couple times.
Well, to give you credit where credit's due, I do. Honestly, since you said it, the theory has been kind of rumbling around my head with episode 2 that he is rather complimentary and sticking up for
That's
Loki.
What I'm saying, man. That's
quite
what I'm
a great
saying.
deal. And again, they offered him a little bit of sympathy. I don't care what you believe.
Very, very patient with Loki when he doesn't have to be. There's got to be a reason for it. There's got to be a deeper connection there.
And again, perhaps the arc could be, assuming the Mobius thing is actualizing. It's very theoretical, folks, but let's just say it happens. The idea could be that, right now, the interesting thing about this episode is that Loki, contrary to what I thought it was going to do, and I have no compunction about going a different way, is that Loki is, he's still very much the trickster in the field. He's putting them on. He's feeling out his options here. He's working on his master plan, which is essentially take over the TVA from the Timekeepers, finesse them, manipulate them. And again, he's not going straight to like kind of the Infinity War Loki, which I thought we were going to kind of speed up to. So I like that. I like that we're kind of drawing it out because it makes sense. It wouldn't be like a Band-Aid solution like that because it is Loki after all. He's the god of mischief. So perhaps the whole the conversation they had about what are you in this for? The whole you really basically Mobius. I think the most charming moment of the whole episode was the jet ski. Mobius lives for jet ski.
We don't see Mobius on a jet ski in some sort of like epic moment.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That is 100% something they're going to pay off.
That has to be in the finale, or at least the season finale. One of the two. It's got to be in there. Anyways,
hey, look at me, Loki! I'm on a jet ski.
So that's what I'm saying. So we're
this jet ski is great. Sorry.
God. Wow. Anyway, yeah, I think it's kind of like a little point A, point B of where Loki starts to perhaps Mobius is where Loki ends, literally in the time stream.
Yeah,
perhaps that should reveal. Like, it's like, why did I grow a mustache? Something like that. I don't know.
Exactly.
But the jet. I'm sure Loki is going to give him a jet ski by the end of this. That's got to be. They got to work. So speaking of some fun bits, I'm sorry. Go on.
To me, there's like as big as the whole like we'll talk about the literal bomb that is dropped at the end of the episode. Like we'll kind of build to that. But as big as that was, to me, there were two moments in this episode that really cinched it for me, and they were both kind of smallish Loki and Mobius moments. The first one is honestly, goddamn, one of the most entertaining exposition dumps I've ever seen with the salad.
Yeah, the salad was awesome.
Oh my god, it's classic Owen Wilson. I love how Owen Wilson is just like he's frustrated by it, but he's like by the end of the scene, he's just kind of
he's too polite to do anything about it.
Right. Like, don't take the salad. Come on. Don't pour I get no sir, come on.
And then the other moment, and this might be my favorite moment of this show so far, throughout 2 episodes, is when Mobius just straight up calls out Loki's bullshit.
Yep, the whole TVA thing. Like, yeah, you're just gonna manipulate the TV. After he's like, Loki thinks he's so clever. You think you can manipulate me? I think that's so cute. He's like straightening his tie. All right, you mean your whole plan to get on to the timekeepers and then finesse them into running things? Yeah.
All right, so Tiki out theory. I'm going to throw out mine. The timekeepers are not the timekeepers. They are the living tribunal.
Nice.
Which will connect them to Multiverse of Madness.
Nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised whatsoever if this somehow did connect to Multiverse of Madness in some way.
Speaking of Multiverse of Madness, I wonder if this early on we've created the Multiverse of Madness given the bonding.
That's exactly what I was thinking when those timelines were shifting, man. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Very possible.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what Black Widow and Shang-Chi have to say in relation to all of the crazy multiverse happenings that are being established here. I don't know if we'll get more of Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it's more grounded, or isolated storylines, or if they're going to tease or connect in some way, or if we're going to have to wait.
I think Black Widow is going to be isolated. I think that's going to be going to fit like a puzzle piece. I think.
Sure.
I mean, based on the trailer for Shang-Chi, I would probably say the same thing. But
yeah, that's my guess. But I'm just curious to see, given that they're swinging so hard that direction right now. I'm curious to see.
I feel like it's just further evidence for the whole SpiderMan is going to be the big kind of coming out celebration of the multiverse. That's when we're really going to fully acknowledge it and just go crazy with it.
Could be. They're being pretty hush-hush with that one.
Oh, I know. It's interesting. I feel like at this point, if it's not the multiverse, that everyone is going to just be irrationally pissed.
I mean, I would hope they have something really good if it's not the multiverse after all this build-up and all this stupid speculation about every which thing.
No, but honestly, at this point, they could tick all the boxes we could ever want with an average Spider-Man movie. I say average just in terms of a regular Peter Parker Spider-Man movie. It could have the best villain ever. They could actually dive into the Uncle Ben stuff, which is something that I think that's my biggest criticism of MCU Spider-Man, is that they're afraid of the words Uncle Ben for some reason. And it could be the best freaking modern Spider-Man movie ever, but if Tobey Maguire's not in it, it's going to be a huge disappointment.
All right. So speaking about the salad, as we were, what I love about the salad too, more so, is the plot point of hey, Loki cracked the case. He uncovered a huge lead, which is these Nexus events. It's chaos. It's basically a chaos that leads basically the chaos of a disaster, which means you can do anything, as we demonstrate with Pompeii hilariously. Be free, my horned friends.
That
Be free.
seems great.
Hilarious. Like, are we from the future? I mean, like, does TVA exist outside of time? Oh, I love the minutia. Also, just a little fun fact. Well, not a fun fact. I love that we're getting more Miss Minutes, more Tara Strong as Miss Minutes. Around. She's like a sentient hologram somehow. It's cool.
Miss Minutes. There's no way that Disney's not going to make her into a Q line safety video at some point.
They gotta
attraction.
They just gotta.
For sure. I think the Pompeii scene was one that kind of fell apart a little bit for me because it was one where the green screen was very obvious, at least to me, and it
was
felt
like far away though.
The like costume design and like the set and stuff felt more like a set than like the place.
I get that's totally fair. I hear you.
The lighting was studio lighting and not really daylight. So kind of the illusion of it, kind of my disbelief kicked in there briefly. But aside from that, I think the storytelling that was being done was fine.
Donovan says he's heard that Miss Minutes will have her own arc. I mean,
oh man, we maybe did get the whole the little hint of like she's like kind of like sort of Boba recording into sentient being.
Oh my god, what if Miss Minutes was the timekeeper?
Ooh.
Or somehow like the big linchpin to how we get to the timekeepers or something.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. I was thinking more like she just kind of comes to like Loki a little bit more. That's what I was thinking in terms of an arc, but that's even better.
Right.
All right, so let's talk 2050. So I love the little cheeky detail like Kablooey, which was an actual product sold on the back of comics way back when.
Mm-hmm.
The Kablooey gum led to like the how to isolate which disaster specifically our variant Loki is, which leads us to 2050 during the Roxcart flooding disaster. So Roxcart is being like RockonOil in the future has, which we established. It's been in the MCU. Like I think we technically first introduced it in Iron Man 2, and then Iron Man 3 is where we went to it and everything. And RockonOil, which it's an Agent Carter. Roxxon's been kind of built as like the corrupt, kind of conglomerate company. So the fact that in the future it's like kind of like a Walmart Amazon hybrid, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of like the B&L of the MCU.
Yeah, I was kind of freaking it. This episode is, I mean, once again with Loki, it's like we're really kind of, we're really going nuts as far as like we're going like the furthest back that we've ever been in the MCU timeline, and also the furthest into the future that we've ever been in the MCU timeline.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious what the established thing is that's happening with the one TVA agent who got captured, and she kept repeating, "It's real, it's real."
I believe it's a
C20. Oh yeah, that was just kind of like left hanging in the air, right?
Yes, they're kind of leaving that as a seed for something to grow. But
what exactly is real?
Yeah, so I'm curious what that's going to lead to.
I wonder if she got a peek at the Multiverse of Madness. I wonder if like what happens when we cross the red line. It's real. It's real. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like it'd be interesting to get a little bit more in terms of like how the variant is so good at defeating the TVA agents, because it seemed like Loki really got his ass handed to him. Our Loki got his ass handed to him at the beginning, but this variant is like single-handed. True, but like this other variant has like single-handedly defeated all these teams and stuff, and like I want to know like what went into that process. I want to know the steps in between those two Lokis in some way.
Well, so far what we've seen is the variant Loki has been grabbing up the TVA Tech, and now there is a detail, there's a clue perhaps to how that happened. Now remember when the I don't want to call them time police, the TVA agents, the hunters, the time hunters, when they showed
time cops.
When the Time Hunters showed up, there was a weapon in the ground that was like third millennium tech, and now that's I believe it's where Kang the Conqueror is from. Which of course that's kind of the big like we're going to introduce him in Ant-Man 3, but the point being Kang the Conqueror, assumedly could tie into a Timekeeper thing, or at the very least be like the thorn in the Timekeeper's side. Regardless,
sure.
that perhaps maybe if our Loki, had a dealing with Thanos, perhaps Lady Loki has a dealing with Kang the Conqueror. And that's how she kind of got the advantage, much like how Loki got the Mind Stone in the little scepter. Which, by the way, Lady Loki has a little trick very similar to it, a little Mind Stoney trick, a little reminiscent of Scarlet Witch. Perhaps more like we're definitely in the Enchantress direction with her. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Anything else? I feel like we pretty much
just the bomb. Really, that's what's left.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I mean, like I said, my first reaction was just like, okay, this is my first reaction was multiverse, right? It's like that's literally what's going on, the multiple timelines. It's like the branching timelines. It's like that's to me. I'd be surprised if that wasn't kind of where we were going.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be impressed. Here's the thing. So I actually got talking with one of our new buddies, Chris Notorelli. Check out his work, folks. Blinky 500, Blinky Productions. Anyway, so he and I got talking, and he brought up, we're both kind of simpatico on the, so we're distracting we lured all the TVA agents, out in the field, dealing with all these timelines and all these reset bombs that have gone off. And I have a list of the locations, by the way. There's Titan, which is Thanos' planet, Vormir, Ego, the living planet, awesome. Ooh. Xandar, Halo, which is where the Krees are, so that's a Captain Marvel tie-in, presumably, and Asgard and Jotunheim. So Loki's home, kind of both of his homes. So we're going all over the place, and we're sending all these hunters to deal with this, and possibly more. Now we're luring them out of the TVA. So assumedly, Lady Loki can stroll into the TVA while kind of storm the castle, essentially storm the castle while it's empty and find the timekeepers.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Clever little plan, and definitely Loki is going to have some splaining to do. It was so heartbreaking after Mobius and Loki were having such a bromance this episode. Things were going so well for him, and like Loki, no, don't go in there. But Loki has to follow her in there. But it's like, oh, why couldn't he left a note or something? Oh. Womp womp.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to look at the.
Yeah, let's see.
I just saw that there's a Miss Minutes pop figure. That is cool.
I did see that. So Ravonna, she comes with a little Miss Minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
sweet.
Appreciate that.
Donovan earlier was speaking to basically the ending with the score and everything, just the immediate kind of feeling of dread. What's really cool too about the bomb when it happens and it goes off is you're thinking, oh god, like I'm thinking they're all going to be trapped and they're all going to be disintegrated like right then and there, but no, they all just they're bombers in a giant. It's like we're in a giant bomber and all the bombs are being dropped. This is exactly what the Red Skull wanted to do, but Cap stopped them from. This is like the time bomb perfected.
Exactly. Yeah.
It
really builds up. I mean, like a lot of people, Notorelli included. I saw him make this comment on Facebook before I even got to watch this episode, which really got me excited and curious about oh my god, what could it be? Where a lot of people are saying this is like a season finale worthy event in episode 2. Like this by itself could be a cliffhanger.
Yeah, they really know how to keep you hooked on this show so far. They really got the hook in there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, if they're going to make us wait in between weeks to watch the episodes, then they better do that.
And Wednesday so far has been a really good compromise, I think. It's a shorter wait time.
I'm warming up more and more to the weekly thing with these streaming shows just because I do enjoy the conversation.
I am slowly Stockholm syndroming my way into it after being spoiled by, having stuff release all in one go
right.
For so many years on streaming stuff.
Just a little pat on the head.
I appreciate. I feel like it's a bit harder to consume. Obviously, it's not the most convenient way to consume everything. But I feel like in the grand scheme, I feel like it makes every episode stand out a lot more for me because we get that week to dissect every episode. So I think in the long term, it's more healthy for a TV show. I don't know. That's just my.
I feel like it's less overall hype. Like the hype meter will never quite reach as high as it would when they're all released at once, but it keeps the like overall average hype level on a more average plane for a longer period of time.
Right, but to play devil's advocate, like the hype level when they're all released at once, that's like, that's like a peak of like maybe a few days of like everyone talking about it, and then inevitably it's going to be, people are going to burn through those episodes, and then it's going to kind of simmer back down to like, like, oh, Cobra Kai is a great show, but none of us are really talking about Cobra Kai right now.
Yeah, I'd speculate that the week-to-week release thing is basically it's an insurance policy, in that if the show for some reason doesn't deliver, perhaps a finale doesn't quite turn out like in a way we think will dazzle everyone, or something. Basically, if they're unsure about something,
week to week. WandaVision.
Well, I was going to phrase it more delicately, but
I don't even dislike the finale of WandaVision. That was a cheap shot.
my point is just I think they're covering their bases for like week to week. It's going to have the hype, and it's going to get everyone watching. It's going to get everyone talking, and maybe adds a little more of a glowing quality versus like something like just for example, like Daredevil. We know Daredevil is good. You would do digest. You're going to be talking about it for weeks because it's so darn good. It's like the whole thing is going to pay off. There's like a certainty there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some along those lines.
All right. Okay, I think we've pretty much run the gauntlet. Gulliver, I wasn't expecting to get into a spirited debate about streaming versus weekly, but hey, I like it.
No, it's fine. I'm just a greedy bastard who wants it all now. Please, thank you. This is kind of where I'm at personally. It's not I understand the marketing decision side of things and like why they're doing it, and also please inject directly into veins this television show. No, I cannot wait. I am an addict.
Right. Let's see. Any big comments we want to get to?
Now, let me take another pass. I think we covered all the main ones here. 1 second. Okay, let me files. Okay, here's something we didn't talk about. Is real quick. So, Donovan says, "I love how even with this Loki, 2012 Loki, with him going through the files and him looking at the destruction of Asgard from Ragnarok, you can see him, welling up." That he still has love for his home, and that was a really interesting moment where Loki is again clear. I love the turnaround. So when he presents this to Mobius again, I don't know, maybe a little fires to your theory, Tiki. Which I like your theory being true would be interesting to me. I don't know if I'm fully behind it, but regardless, it's the fact that Mobius offering like condolences. Loki's just not bulldozing past that. But we saw that moment though. We know it did reach him, but then it's like, okay, now forget that. I'm going to toss Hulk off the Rainbow Bridge.
Right.
He's gonna bulldozing past the pathos there.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess final thoughts, guys. What do you got?
I'm curious to see where this goes. Marvel has done a good job of leaving the endings of their shows ambiguous thus far. So, it's good that they're doing a good job of subverting expectations while also, delivering satisfying endings. I'm hoping for the same from Loki.
And we have Luke talks about movies in the comments. I've returned.
Yeah, I saw that. Hey, how you doing, Luke? It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, final thoughts for me. Yeah, I think the consensus from what I've been hearing about this episode, people are really jazzed out of their minds about it, as they should be. This is a really good episode, and I'll admit though, front end I was a little worried. It was not that because I'm used to the procedure. I dig it. I don't think the show's heading in that direction.
At this point, given the end of the episode, I doubt it's just going to be a news of the week type thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just feels like it was just this episode particularly was like we set up the mundanity of the TV, and then we're seeing a little bit like the research that goes into it. Like this is I think the most procedural it gets. I could be wrong. I don't know, but it's just. So there was that first. I think we just kind of like we exploded things. The minute we stepped into Rock's card, that's where it was like, oh my god, this is this is really cool. This is really something special. I mean, beyond that, just like, we have like just the intrigue within kind of our procedural stuff, and just like, hey, we're kind of framing this really great detective work through like the salad demonstration, and like I'm really enjoying the dynamic here, and again the pathos getting there. So the dichotomy of, I maybe like pick whatever it's the writing's been really on point with Mobius and Mobius so far. It's been probably my favorite aspect of the show. I know I keep saying that about so many other things of the show, but maybe that is it. It's that, maybe it's sympathy for that little ice runt, or I'm using you as a means to an end. I don't care. Just pick one. It's just really solid writing. I've been, and of course, there's a big crescendo that we end off on, like a big plot point worthy of First Avenger, but done right as a third act plot point. Like, oh my God, we've dropped all the bombs, time bombs. We're underwriting everything. We have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be awesome.
All right, yeah, I'm super stoked for this show, man. I think it's got a real Terry Gilliam quality to it, which is just like super new for the MCU. So far, I think the MCU Phase 4 has been doing a great job of like, all right, guys, you know what baseline MCU is like. You've been through the Infinity Saga. Let's give you something new. That's what the MCU really needed to do to evolve, and I think they're doing a great job of it. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Okay, so let's see. Big thanks to everyone in the comments. Executive, Beowulf, Luke talks about movies, Donovan, I think
Did you say executive?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, we got everybody.
All right, cool. Okay, so that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mono e mono. Just Plus. And us.
Get Mobius a jet ski!
Oh, come on, Loki, not the salad.